Hello everybody, it's Scott O'Mato and we're here for another Project E video. This time we're going to talk about how Project E handles enchantments, enchanted items, and it's a little bit of a complex subject, but we'll kind of look at it in detail as much as we can. And we'll also see how to handle them in a refined storage system with equivalent storage. Okay, all right. So here we go with the equivalence engine. So basically, all right, let's take a look. And a book itself is EMC 160. Okay, that makes sense because it's 3 paper, 32 a piece, and leather at 64. Okay, so that's 160. Now, an enchanted book by itself is 2048. Okay, so the difference between those is 1888. Now, I don't know where that comes from really. To be honest with you, I could dig through the source code to find it, but I'm not really all that worried about that. That's just kind of a little trivia fact, okay, in this case. What we're interested in is, so basically if I took and I put an enchanted book here in the transmutation table, then it would be worth 2048. So a piece of gold is worth that. So gold is 2048. It's equivalent to it. Again, at this point, kind of just trivia. Now, the thing is that if I have this sharpness book here, okay, it's 2548. So let's look at that detail. Oops, sharpness. Okay, 2548. So the sharpness enchantment is worth 500. EMC. All right, and at each level it's worth an additional 500. So 3048 is worth 500. Okay, 3548, 4048, 4548. Okay, so each level is worth 500, right? Now, if I take this sharpness 1 book and I put it in here, I don't have a sharpness 1 book anymore. I have an enchanted book. Okay, but I did gain the amount of EMC. So let's kind of round let me get another sharpness book, 2548. Let's round up here so we can kind of see easier. I'm going to get me some cobble, which is worth 1. Okay, I'm going to put 4 pieces in there. That'll round me up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm 4,600. Okay, so if we put that in there, we're going to get let's see, 66 for 2,000 plus 5 is 71. We should get 7148, I do believe. Yes, 7148. Okay, so it takes the value of it, but it consumes it, and it cannot come back out. The only thing that you can pull back out is just a standard enchanted book, or just a general enchanted book. Okay, so that's just something to realize, how that works. Now, it was again worth, let me clear out all this stupid at P give. Yeah, excuse me for just a second. No. Recipe give at P. Stupid recipe book. All right, let's clear all those out so they don't bother us anymore. So let's go to our enchantment here. Enchant. All right, and let's look at some various other ones. So we saw that each level of sharpness was worth 500. Okay, now how that kind of works, again, I've looked in the source code for it a bit, and here's the equation for it. No, not there. I'm a tab person that has tons of tabs. All right, here's the equation if you're interested in getting that deep. All right, so it's reading from the enchantment helper in the Minecraft source code, and it's mapping it, and then it's saying it's got a constant here that's set to 5,000 in the Project E source code. So enchant EMC bonus is 5,000. All right, that's set as a constant. All right, it's dividing that by the rarity of the enchantment and the weight of it. So get rarity, get weight of the enchantment from the enchantment helper. That's just part of Minecraft source code that's pulling in from Forge. All right. Then it's multiplying that by get the value, which get this value is the level of the enchantment, I do believe. So if we got 5,000, we know that each level of sharpness is worth 500. Then it makes sense that this get rarity, get weight is 10 for sharpness. 5,000 divided by 10 is 500. For level 1 is 500. Level 2 is 1,000, so on and so forth. So there's your source code on how they're calculating it. All right. It's based on the rarity of the enchantment is the bottom line of that. So the rarity of the enchantment comes from, you could get an idea of it at least if you use something like this enchantment calculator. Okay, so like this enchantment calculator is going to tell you that if you take something like a gold sword, for instance, and you enchant it, then it's going to give you a probability of how often something's going to show up. All right, how often that something's going to show up. And in this case, the probability of a sharpness occurring if you have a level 1 enchant is 41.1%. Okay, unbreaking 15%, knockback 14. You can see the idea of that. Sharpness is very common. Okay, sharpness is very common. So that just gives you an additional idea. I'll put a link to this website in here if you're interested. You know, I don't know how much you'll want to go into the ProjectE source code. But basically, let's take a look then at other enchantments. All right. So like just to give ourselves an idea. So here's protection, and protection is very common. If you have armor at level 1, you're likely to get a high level of or a high likelihood of getting protection. So protection again is worth 500. 500, 3,000, 3,500, 40, 48. Okay. Now fire protection. Okay. 3048 at level 1. So it's worth twice as much as protection 1. Okay. Fire protection is worth twice as much. That's kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at that and see how that relates to our probabilities, because again, I'm kind of interested in the probability of stuff. So if I instead say gold or a gold helmet, for instance, actually, let's go ahead and get a chest plate. All right, a chest plate at level 1, calculate. Protection 1 is 37.8%. Whereas fire protection is 5%, 37.8%, 5%. So a lot less likely. You're a lot more likely to get regular protection or unbreaking or projectile, 1 or 2, or blast, and then fire protection. Okay, so a little bit less rare, or a little bit more rare. And so that's how it's getting calculated from that to figure out, okay, you know, I looked at page 2. Okay, so that's how we're getting a different level of protection for fire protection, a different EMC value. 1,000, twice as much EMC. Okay, so again, if I had something that had fire protection on it, then I would, if I had a fire protection book, then I would get this value of it, but I would only be able to pull out a regular enchanted book from that. Okay, so each one's level's worth 1,000. You know, all the way up to 6,048. Okay, and so on and so forth. Feather falling is worth 2,000 at its basic level. Okay, 2,000. Interesting. For each level of feather falling, it's worth 2,000. All right, blast protection. What's that? 2,500. Yes, blast protection. Fire protection 3048. Blast protection 1 of 2048. That's 2,500 for that guy. Now blast protection, according to our showing here, was more common than fire protection. 6.6% to 5%. So, your mileage may vary on this. This is only a guideline, to use. Okay, so again, your mileage may vary. The ultimate authority, of course, is in our instance here, JEI, of the final calculations that we're seeing in these numbers. That's kind of the final authority. And then, of course, testing those to put them in. So blast protection 2, yeah, each one is worth 2,500. Okay, for blast protection. Projectile protection is worth 1,000. Yeah, is worth 1,000. So blast protection is considered to be less common, or projectile protection, is considered less common. It's only 1,000, so it's considered to be as common as fire protection. So that's the thing. Just got to kind of play along with however that goes. All right, so respiration, I'm not going to go over every value, but I'll just give you an idea. Now, Thorns. Thorns is worth a lot. Thorns is worth 5,000. Okay, Thorns is worth 5,000. So let's go back and look at our deal here. Thorns 1 is 1.9%, 5,000. So here we're getting different levels of protection. That doesn't matter. We're only really interested in level 1. At level 1, if I change it to 30, we could just look at different probabilities. I am doing gold, by the way, high enchantability, so our likelihood to get good enchantments is up a little bit. So Thorns 2 here at a level 30 enchant is 10.6% chance. Unbreaking 3 is 30.5, and protection 4, 26. So anyway, you get an idea of how that works, but we are getting very, very high EMC values for Thorns. Depth Strider, pretty good amount, 2,500. Those are higher levels. So a Curse of Binding, okay, Curse of Binding is another 5,000. So Curse of Binding is not that uncommon in loot chests these days, so that's worth 5,000. Sharpness is a pretty common one. Again, 500. Smite, 1,000. Knockback, 1,000. Now, of course, this is the end value. You can't buy these with EMC. There's no way to buy them. Enchantment gets absorbed. Silk Touch is worth 5,000. Okay, so Silk Touch is 5,000. So anyway, that is basically how it works. So let's look and see if we put it on a weapon, if it carries forward or there's any change. I'll just hint you that it just carries forward. It just adds to it. So the golden sword is worth 4,100. So if I put this enchanted book on it, then it's 4,600. The book is worth 500. It doesn't include the value of the book itself. The book is eaten up. Just the value of the enchantment that's on it. So 4,600. So your levels have no EMC value to them is one thing to conclude from that. But yeah, 4,600, and neither does the book, although the book is consumed. So you may want to just keep that in mind as well. I do lose the book. I end up with 500. All right, once again, put this guy in here. I have no enchantment, but I did get the value of what I put in, okay? But I cannot pull the enchantment back out, so it strips the enchantments from your items. That can be very bad. You need to be very careful and wary about that. Now, how to fix that, okay? A way to fix it with books, for instance, all right, is you need a disk drive, and you need a dedicated disk drive, essentially, because you got to set different priority levels. So ultimately, you'll probably have 3 disk drives or 2 disk drives, and then your equivalence engine, right? And the reason is because, let me get a disk. Let me get a couple disks here. Okay, and I'll put them in. So, and like so. Okay, so this is our stuff that's going to get EMC. Remember, it just goes into the transmutation tablet. Doesn't go to any disk or anything. You know, it goes into the equivalence engine, which is linked to this transmutation table. It just goes into our personal EMC storage deal. Okay, and we could see the enchanted book and the gold stuff that we put in here. All right. So if you want to keep an enchanted book, all right, first of all, we need priorities. All right, a priority of something says that I want my stuff to go in to the EMC system first or lesser. So if I made this disk drive right here, my non-EMC items that don't have EMC, I'm not sure what I have in here that doesn't. Let's try a potion. Yeah. All right, let's do a potion. A potion does not have EMC. So if I set the priority on this to be less, just anything less than the equivalent engine, all right, then I will make it -1, set, and now it'll check here first, then it'll check there. But it'll also look here, but here I have filtered by an enchanted book, and this mode set to whitelist. It will only accept enchanted books. This is set to a whitelist. This is the whitelist configured, okay? It will only accept enchanted books. Now, there is a filter that you can also get for refined storage that you can put additional items in, a whole bunch of items like so, or by mods or what have you, with EMC selections and damage selections and stuff like that. A little bit more advanced, but you can also configure that and put that in there. So you could like list all your books if you wanted and go through that and say, in that case, you would say match the MBT. If you wanted, for instance, to definitely keep like sharpness books, okay, but you wanted to eat up Thorns books, you weren't interested in Thorns books, then you could leave them off the list. Or the opposite, you could make it a blacklist and say Thorns books. You know what I mean? If basic filtering ideas. But okay, you could get into details, but doesn't have to be that complex, because you can just put in an enchanted book, just like we just had an enchanted book, and then say use MBT no. So it means any enchanted book, any one that is an enchanted book, put onto this guy. Okay, we don't even need to worry about the priority, but we would like. I'm lying about that. We do need to worry about the priority. It needs to be a higher value than our equivalence engine. Okay, because it needs to check this first to see if it's an enchanted book. Then check this guy. Then check that one. Okay, so let's see if everything is working as intended with those settings. So if I put in an enchanted book, like so, okay, it's going to go there, stored 1 of 1,000. Okay, now a kind of nifty trick, you could have done it before, but it never occurred to me, is that with this equivalent engine, we should be able to turn it off. We can. Like if I set this mode to say only work with redstone signal's off, those items are gone. That's only going to show me what's on the external disks. So that's kind of cool that you can turn it off. You could have done it before with 1.5 refined storage by putting a lever on the external storage. But whatever, this does the same thing. So now I see MCA items, now I don't. So that's kind of cool. All right, so if I put in the potion, like so, then it goes to here. Okay, again, if I turn that off, then I'll see an enchanted book and a potion. Okay, they're on different discs. There you go. So now we should be pretty clear. Any kind of enchanted items that we want to put into our system, I'll just randomly grab a few, doesn't really matter. We can do that. Now, if we, again, want more specific controls to take out certain enchantments, then we'd have to do those more advanced filters like I showed you. And so there you go. And here. Okay, let's also look at the combination of enchantments. Okay, if we combine books together. So let's say we have a protection 1 and let's just get an unbreaking. An unbreaking. We'll keep them at 1 for right now. So unbreaking is 1,000 and protection 1 is 500. Okay, so we combine those together in the anvil here to create a new book out of them. Okay, so we get 3548 from that. So that's 500 and 1,000. Okay, 1,500. So 1,500. So we get the full value between those two in EMC. Okay, and it would be the same that if you combined it onto a sword. So if you did, you know, again, I get a golden sword and I combine it. Golden sword is worth 4,100. Okay, this book is worth, the difference of its 2048 is 1548, or yeah, 1548 is the difference. So 5,600. It's not 1548. It's 1,500. Okay, so that's why we're getting 5,600. 4,600 plus 1,500. 5,600. All right, so that's how it works on combination enchantments. So you can actually kind of backtrack to see why a certain item is worth a certain value. Now, of course, durability is a thing too that you have to consider. That's at full durability that will get that value. So durability will lessen that, and maybe we'll look at that in future videos if it warrants it. The important thing is what we have realized, which is that enchantments do have value in EMC that is set to different levels according to the rarity of the item. And then the different levels just build upon that. So there may be cases where we could somehow, you know, use like a automatic enchanting system or something like that to get EMC. Never played with it, but that could be a thing. And of course, mob farms and everything like that can give you EMC as well. But while it looks like when you put something in here that you've lost it, you have, but you actually did gain the EMC from it, a higher value of EMC based upon its enchantment level. Anyway, I hope that was helpful to figure out. Pretty interesting system. And, you know, Project E being a older mod and well-developed mod has thought a lot of these issues through, and it's been battle tested over long periods of time because people have been taking all kinds of shots at it, trying to, you know, exploit it and all this kind of stuff. And of course they succeed, and then it gets patched, and, you know, so like I said, it's a pretty mature code base. So that's another good thing about Project E. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and this is Scott O'Model. Please like, subscribe, and join the tribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.